Hello and welcome to the Learning Spanish video for EcuadorCentral.com. Now, to tell you, first of all, I've been here 3 years and I don't know Spanish, so I'm giving you information from that perspective. Now, I can come up with a lot of excuses, and I will. I will give them to you now. One of the reasons that I don't speak Spanish very well is because I don't learn very well. I mean, languages aren't for me. That's number one. Number two is I came down here starting businesses and started right from the beginning trying to buy properties and talk to lawyers and real estate agents and you do immigration and all this kind of stuff. I didn't have any help. I didn't know any Spanish. I certainly wasn't going to learn it before I started. So I hired a bunch of people, one right after the other, that speak two languages. Now there's problems with that too, because a lot of people can speak two languages, but they don't understand two cultures, and so there's that barrier that's a big learning curve that I learned, is that two languages doesn't mean two cultures. So anyway, a lot of talking in these deep conversations about deeds and water rights and so on with properties wasn't something that I could do then or now with my Spanish level. So having someone to help, it was a really good idea. So I didn't learn Spanish very good because I'm always talking to English speaking people. However, I have been all along taking Spanish classes now and then and again, and on my computer, and actually going to class and so on, and it's progressively getting better. And over the time, the best things that I found for learning Spanish for me, maybe not for you, but for me, was there's a website called LearnSpanishToday.com, and it has a program there for part one, level 1 and level 2, and both of those are really good. I would highly recommend that you have them. It's about $200, which in classes down here, $8 to $10 an hour, you can burn up $200 pretty quick. So it's a really good program to have. Even when you're in class, you go home, it kind of helps you go through the different things that you're learning in your class. And so it's been very helpful, probably the best out of all the programs. I'm not going to mention all the programs because that's the best. There's one other one that I'd mention. It's very popular, and it's called Rosetta Stone. And Rosetta Stone is good for some people because they can learn that way. But for me, Rosetta Stone wasn't really good at the beginning, but I think here in the future it will be, because they don't speak any English on the video or on the program. And so what happens though is they might show you 4 pictures of somebody doing something, and then they'll say some kind of Spanish word that you have no idea what it is, and you're supposed to pick what it is. And that didn't work for me because I'd always have to go look up the word and say, well, what is this word? And so then I'd have to look it up, then go back, and it just took a long time. But now that I'm learning Spanish, and I really need to learn a little bit more of hearing it rather than just the speaking, I think Rosetta Stone would be very good. But I don't think it's really good for someone that knows absolutely no Spanish at all. It's just not. My opinion. And then they have some really good classes here. We also have connections of different private teachers that you can go to. I've been to a few of those. And even in the classes, you can go to a private teacher. You can go to a class with 2 people in it, 3 people in it, whatever it is that works for you. For me, I just don't like anybody else in the class with me because it's kind of weird, but if they're doing better than me, then I can't focus. It's kind of crazy. But the learning Spanish in Ecuador, then of course, you run around and talk to the natives and you practice. That's something that I don't do. That doesn't mean you can't do it. I will work on that. I'm going to learn Spanish because I live in a Spanish-speaking country. It's just that I'm not going to be overly excited about it because I have a time frame in which I need to get it done. Basically, 2 more years I want to be speaking really good. It'd be a total of 5 years. A lot slower than most people do it. But with these tools, I think you can do very well if you don't know any Spanish. Most people will learn Spanish faster than me. And so, of course, the younger you are, normally the better as well. But I know 70-year-old people who speak Spanish better than me, but I think maybe they had it in school or something when they were young. But there's a lot of variables, so don't, feel bad if you don't learn it fast or somebody else learns it faster than you, because everybody's on a different level and a different playing field when it comes to learning another language. But you can learn it, and there's plenty of people that speak English here. And so one caution on that is if you're sitting there talking in English to someone and you think no one around you can hear you, it's just not true. Many times I'll say to people, do you speak, English? And they'll say, no, I don't know English, I don't speak English. And so I start to try and talk to them in my Spanish, of course, not very good. And then all of a sudden they start talking to me in English. And well, what's going on here? I mean, you just told me you didn't speak any English. Oh yeah, that's true. But after I heard your Spanish, I feel comfortable enough to try out my English. And so that's happened to me a lot. And because I'm 6'3", I look like a gringo, people want to run up to me and say, hey, can we talk to you in English? We want to practice our English. So there's a lot of reasons why I haven't learned Spanish. And I'll come up with more excuses before I'm done. But I will learn Spanish, and that hopefully these tips will help you learn faster than me. So that about wraps it up for the Learning Spanish video, and maybe we'll see you in Ecuador.